Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to another of our weekly Torah studies. Got a lot going on today, so we're going to start off as always, taking the news, putting it off to the side. Got my kippot. More this baseball one. Because, why not? Obviously not the weather for baseball. Though sometimes in the spring it can be this cold. All right. We've got our Tanakh. But before we get there, and before we get to the Torah to the blessing, it's Hanukkah. I'm recording this on Thursday during the day, so it's not Hanukkah yet for me. But if you are watching this Friday night on Shabbat or Saturday during the day on Shabbat, it will be not the first night, the second night. There we go. That's the right way to do it. And so the prayer over the candles is Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kidshanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu L'hadlek Ner Shel Chanukah. And tonight at sundown on Saturday, it will be the third night, but this is for Shabbat, so it's the second night or the second day of Hanukkah. Just going to put that back here. And let's get to our Torah reading. But it's always nice to be able to celebrate multiple holidays when we've got them. All right, here's our prayer for the reading of Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kidshanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu L'asok B'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commanding us to engage with words of Torah. All right, so we are reading a portion called, what is this one called? Vayeshev. And we are going to read, this is the one. So we've kind of gotten to the end of the Jacob and Esau story. And then Jacob has two wives, Rachel and Leah, and they have together 13 children, I think, maybe a little more, but there are 12 sons. And then Dinah, at least one daughter. But the 12 sons, the one that we all really hear about is called Joseph. And Joseph doesn't really always get along with his siblings. Sometimes it's displayed as his siblings not getting along with him, but I really think it's Joseph who's the one causing the trouble, even though he's the one who is really special overall and whose story we follow as he gets separated from his family. But before we get to that, we're going to read to sort of what starts the trouble. Joseph keeps having these dreams. And he tells these dreams to his siblings, and it doesn't go very well. Once Joseph had a dream, which he told to his brothers, and they hated him even more for it. He said to them, "Hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were binding sheaves in the field, when suddenly my sheaf stood up and remained upright. Then your sheaves gathered around and bowed low to my sheaf." His brothers answered, "Do you mean to reign over us? Do you mean to rule over us?" And they hated him even more for his talk about his dreams. Joseph dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers, saying, "Look, I have had another dream, and this time the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me." And he told it to his father and brothers. His father berated him. "What," he said to him, "is this dream you have dreamed? Are you to come, I and your mother and your brothers, and bow low to you on the ground?" So his brothers were wrought up at him, and his father kept the matter in mind. So Joseph and his brothers don't have a good relationship anyway. Even at the start of the story, he tells his brothers about this dream of his, which is very, very self-centered dream. Because it's all about how they are going to look up to him. And the Torah says that his brothers hated him even more. so they already hated him. Then he tells them another dream, and they hate him even more, even though this dream is sort of the same message. The sun and the moon and a bunch of stars are bowing down to me. The sun and the moon maybe being his parents, and it's 11 stars. There are 12 brothers, so it's obviously Joseph's 11 brothers bowing down to him. I shouldn't say obviously, but that's the interpretation that has always come very naturally to me, and seems to come very naturally to Jacob in his criticism of Joseph. So we shouldn't really be surprised that Joseph isn't getting along with anyone, because even if we learn later in the story that Joseph's dreams are from God, God is giving him essentially prophecy through the dreams. Not prophecy in the way that we think about it, where it's exactly telling the future. It's prophecy in terms of God is delivering a message directly to Joseph. You and I and other people may think that we're getting messages from God, but they're sort of indirect. Whereas here, the Torah is very clear that God is giving these dreams to Joseph. That makes him a prophet, just kind of by definition. Anyway, but if you're a prophet of God, bragging about it to your family is probably a bad plan. If you have really special talents and abilities, that's great. You should work on those abilities. You should cultivate them. You should find ways to include them into your passion, into your daily life, whether into your work or whether into your leisure, whatever. But if you're using it to kind of rub someone the wrong way, to intentionally provoke them, to piss them off, basically, that's not what they're for. And that's going to get you into more trouble than you would otherwise get if Joseph is having this gift of prophecy and he just uses it to help people. That'd be cool. I'm sure his family would appreciate that. However, he's using this gift of prophecy to say to his family, I'm real special, and you guys are going to have to look up to me. I'm going to rule over you. You're going to bow down to me. And no one likes being told that, even if it's true. No one likes being told that they have to be sort of second best. So I think that's really the lesson here. If you have, not if, we all have some kind of talent. We all have something that we excel at, and we do really, really well at. And that's great, and we should find ways to use those skills and those talents and those passions productively for the sake of other people. But we definitely should not use those talents to then brag against other people and make them feel bad and to say, I'm so much better than you are, so you need to treat me right. That's not the right way to use the skills and talents and passions, or whatever other word we want to come up with. So that's that. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Hanukkah. I hope you are all having a good and safe week and being able to get outside before it gets too cold. It's been sort of cold. It's been snowing, but you can still get out a little bit. Let me pull up the Misha Berach, because remember, the Torah is out. We want to give a prayer of healing. If you know someone who needs some healing, some extra thoughts, some extra attention, keep them in your mind. Maybe email or call them or text them when we're done with this video. If you can't think of anyone, think of yourself. Try to figure out maybe something that you need, ways that you can get that. So here we go. Sorry. So yeah, whether this healing is for yourself or for someone who you know, now is a good time to think about them and things that you can do to be supportive.
sing and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
All right. So thank you again for joining me. I'm so glad that we can spend this time together. If you have any questions about anything at all, feel free to email me at the Jewish Life account. Otherwise, happy Hanukkah, Shabbat Shalom. See you next week.